I'm Bernie from Crafters Companion. Today I'm actually going to show you our reversible bag making dies, and this one is the Reversible Pocket Tote bag, which has got the pocket on the outside, but we can show you can actually put extra ones in as well, totally up to you. So these dies help you cut the pieces really accurately. You don't have to worry about them, but they give you those other options to add to them as well. So let's see what you get in the packet. You're going to get all of the dies to cut them, which I'm going to show you how to use. And then you're getting full step-by-step instructions with pictures, which is great because I'm a very visual learner. So I like to be able to see, which is why this video helps as well. If I grab the bag that you're going to make, this has been actually made in cord fabric. It is luxurious. So you've got the handles on there, and then we've got this lovely pocket at the front, which is secure at the top, so it's quite handy that it's not an open pocket for someone just to slip the hand in. You've got that extra security in there as well. So let's see how we cut them out. So like I say, we get those full instructions in here, and it tells us all the equipment that we need, how much fabric we need. It also tells us how many pieces of each one to cut out, and also how to lay out the pieces to cut. So let's show you how to do that. Out the way. Right, so we've got our normal sandwich for cutting our multimedia dies, which is your clear cutting plate, your metal shim. And then the first time, I think I'll cut out the outside of the bag. So we've got the lower bag panels here. And it tells us as well in here that we need 2 of the outer, 2 of the contrast, and you're interfacing in your wadding. It's up to you how much you put in there. I'm going to put wadding in today. If you want to make it thicker, you can use different weights interfacing or foam stabilizer. 2 layers of wadding if you want it really padded. It's totally your choice. So to cut out these dies, as you can see, that looks like it's not the full shape of the dies because we cut on the fold of the fabric. So if I grab some of the fabric here, so let's cut my red. So I've got my folds lined up, and I'm just having those on top of each other. Line them up carefully. And then I'm going to place the die just a millimetre or 2 over there. If it doesn't quite cut, you can just snip those couple of threads with your scissors at the end point. But just get them as close as you can, and then just secure them down with a little bit of tape, and that just stops it from moving. And that's your outer pieces for the bag. Now the other pieces, we've got the the upper bag panel and the lower pocket panel, which are these 2 pieces here. They're cut in exactly the same way as this one. Lay your fabric on the fold, lay your die on, give it a little bit of tape to secure it, and cut them down. The other one we've got here is for the straps, and this one's slightly different, so I'm going to show you how we do that. Again, you've got full instructions in the written instructions included in the packet on how to do this, but I'm going to show you. So what you're going to do is fold your fabric, and we refer to that as concertinaing your fabric. So you decide how long you want your handles to be, so you need to cut 2 of these. And then what you do, if we get the die, we can see on the die that we've got cut edges on the longer sides, and these are open. So where your cut edges are, that's going to cut the long width of your bag handle, and then it's not going to cut on the fold. So we just need to fold our fabric. So let me just move that out the way. Go. And I say we're just going to concertina it. And this doesn't have to be exact on the fold, but you do want to make sure that these bits are kept nice and straight. And just fold it back over itself. Okay, and then when you've got that nice and straight, we're going to pop that down. And then we can do both these pieces in one pass. I'm going to pop a little bit of tape on there. And then we've just got those pocket pieces and the other panel pieces to cut. So then we've got our plastic shim for the sandwich and our other clear cutting plate. So I'm going to cut all my pieces out and then we're ready to construct the bag. So now we've got all our pieces cut out, we're going to start constructing the bag. So what I've got here is an outer panel and I've also cut out some wadding. So I'm just going to use our stick and spray, which is our temporary adhesive, just to hold that down. You don't need a lot. It just helps it keep it in place. And you can quilt this if you want, but it's such a small piece it wouldn't come away in the wash. But if you want to do some decorative stitching on there, by all means you can. The other thing as well what you could do is actually make up patchwork pieces of different fabrics and then die cut them. So it's going to be totally unique. So I've got that lower part and then I've got one of the upper sections, and again, just pop that wadding on there and line that up. And then all I'm going to do is put these right sides together, match up the edges, and we're just going to stitch along. So it's just a 1/4 inch seam. Just stitch all the way along. If you're sewing through a lot of a thicker fabric, you can always lengthen your stitch as well. Okay. And then what you're going to do is press the seam one way. I like to press mine down over. You can press it or finger press it. And then what we're going to do is with a long stitch, we're going to just top stitch across there. So I'll do that one on this one, and then I'm going to do this exactly the same again for the other side of the bag. So we've got that one stitch and I've got the other one here. So we've got both of those stitched together. So now we're going to make the pocket. So now we're going to make that pocket for the outside. So I've got my two pieces here, which is the lower panel and the upper pocket panel. And what we need to do is stitch this onto the top of here, but we need to make it central. So the easiest way to do that is obviously when we die cut them, if I get one of the pieces I haven't stitched, you've naturally got that fold there in your fabric. So you've got your center point. And the same on that one, you've got the center point. So what you can do is match those up. So I can see mine here. So I'm going to do is match my center point on there like that. And I'm just going to stitch across there. I'm just going to pop a clip or two just to hold it so it doesn't move. Now I lengthened my stitch before when I was stitching the top stitching, so I've just knocked it back down again. Again, it's a 1/4 inch seam. I like to do a little bit of a reverse stitch at the start and end of this, just so it doesn't move. So I'm going to stitch this one, and then I'm going to do the same with the lining. Just do a little reverse. There we go. So it looks a bit strange, but once we start piecing it together, it'll make more sense. So I'm going to grab my lining pieces. So again, I want the upper pocket panel and the lower one. Again, we can see those fold lines on there. So if I just pop that to the side, so we can see our fold lines. So that's our center lines. We're basically just going to line them up. And if you need to, you can use a heat erasable pen just to mark that center point. And if you have pressed your fabric, you could press them back with a crease in, or just use your ruler or the measurements on your mat. Anything just to find that center point. So I'm going to quickly stitch along here. So we've put these right sides together. We're now going to stitch them, but we only need to stitch in a certain part, just on these two curves here. So I'm going to pop a little clip in again, just to match those up. So I'm going to start from here and I'm going to go all the way to there. Now, because I'm sewing round a curve, again, I'm going to lower my stitch just to a 2mm. But you'll find your own preference. So I'm just carefully going around. Click. So that's one side done, and then we'll go and do the other side. So just take your time when you're going around that curve. If you need to stop and you've got that needle down position, that's one of the favourite functions on my machine, because it gives you that little bit of breathing space, just to regroup if you've got in a bit of a muddle. There we go. So we've got those sewn there, and then what we're going to do is turn that through. And we're going to give this a little bit of a press before we top stitch it. I do like to top stitch. So if I just run my finger just on the inside of that curve, again, that just helps it lie flat. I think the flatter you can get a curve, the neater it will look. So we're just going to get that round. And don't worry about doing all of it in one go. This one, I'm happy with that little bit there. So I'm going to press that. And then I'm going to concentrate on the other side. And if you find that it's not lying very flat, you could always go in, and if you need to clip into the corner at all to make it lie flatter. So that's one side done. You see how it just makes a big difference already, doesn't it? So then we'll get this side done. Now the pattern and the instructions we give you to do this one pocket on the outside, you could actually put one on both sides. You could put them, again, it's a reversible bag, so you can put them on the inside as well. You can customize it as much as you like. So I'm just going to take the opportunity there, because I don't need those centre marks anymore. I can just give that a good press. Okay. And then all I'm going to do is top stitch around there, just to give that professional look. So again, I'm going to lengthen my stitch, and I'm just going to top stitch around there. So I've got cream thread on my machine. You can use a matching thread or a contrasting thread, whichever you prefer. So around that one. And this bag is so quick to make. I see you can multi-cut, so you can cut a lot out of one go, and then you can make them all in one go. It is a really fab, easy one to make. And you can customise it if you do want to. So there we go. So that's the pocket part finished. So let me just pop that out of the way. So because we've got that pocket part done now what we can do is put that onto the front of the bag. So if we grab one of the front of the bags that we've made, and if we lay that on top now, you can see there how that fits perfectly on there. And what I'm going to do is just baste quite close to the edge with a long stitch, just to hold this in place, to keep it in place. and that'll help us later when we're putting the bag together. So I'm just close to the end, and if some bits you might not actually catch in, but that's fine because you've got the majority of those bits caught in. All the way around. So sometimes you might see it in patterns saying tacking or basting. Tacking, sometimes you might think that's by hand, but it's the same thing on the machine. Just pick your longest stitch and just go around just to secure those in place. There we go. So we've got that in place there. You can tack that top part if you want, but don't worry if you don't. But I'll definitely do the outside. So we've got our pocket side done. We've got our other outside piece done. We now need to look at the handle. So if I grab my handle, so we did cut them out. We cut 2 out, and then what you're going to do is press over 1/4 inch on each side of each piece. And then you're going to put those right sides together. Sorry, you're going to cut 4 out because you need 2 per handle. You're going to cut them right side together, so I've already stitched these ones. And then you're just going to top stitch just down the side on each ones. So they're our handles ready to go in our bag. So I'll just put that to a side. So we've got the handles ready. And then the next thing is what we want to do is take our lining pieces. So I've got the red for the lining. So what we'll find from all our pieces is we would have these pieces left. So you're going to take an upper piece and a lower piece. And you're going to line them up. So exactly the same as we did the outside ones. Obviously these don't have the wadding on. We're going to stitch across there. So we've got the one piece together. And then what we're going to do is put them right sides together. So I've actually already stitched mine just for quickness. And I've got mine here. So I've stitched right sides together. If I show you, done. Okay, and then what I've done, like we did, like you do with most bags, you'll stitch on the lining, stitch around and leave a gap in the bottom. So I've left a gap in the bottom here, but I've only stitched the sides. We haven't stitched this top section around here because that's what we're going to do last when we construct the bag. Okay, so we're going to pop that aside. It's really super quick, this one. I really love it. And what we're going to do is actually pop the handles on the bag next. So if we get our piece with the pocket one first, and we'll grab one of our handles. Let me just get rid of some of my pieces. There isn't a mess on the floor really, but I will clean it up. And then what we're going to do is the handles are going to go here and here, just so centre them. If you need to with a ruler, or you can do them by eye. Just centre them on that top fabric. And then again, we're going to baste in place, so that tack and stitch as well, again. And what it does, when you're constructing the bag, if you're trying to piece everything together at the same time, something might shift. So by just putting these few stitches in first, just help give you that security that everything's not going to move. Because believe me, sometimes it does. So just make sure your handle's not twisted as you bring it round. So I always like to lie it down like that, and then I can see that that's not twisted. There's some cotton ends there, but never mind. And then we'll just tack that one in place. So that's that side done. And then we're going to get the other part of the bag, which is the back of the bag, and do the same with the handles on there. That you can clip or pin these. I'm just going to centralise that on there. Again, tack that on. I also do a little bit of a reverse as well, just to make sure it's not going to move. And then round, check it's not twisted. What you could do as well, so the handles here we've done in one side, the same fabric on both sides. You could do alternate colours, couldn't you, and have two-tone handles. That would look fab. And if you made it in a faux leather, you could have faux leather handle on one side and cotton on the other. So there's lots of different variations that you can play once you've looked in your stash to see what you fancy making it with. There we go. All right, let's just get rid of them threads. Okay. So now we're going to put these together, but what we want to make sure is that our handles don't get in the way when we're stitching. So what I like to do is just clip them. So not so it's distorting the fabric here, but it's just clipping them out the way. And the same with this one, we'll just clip it out the way. I think with pins, you can obviously have a little accident with a pin when you're turning it through, but if you've got a clip on, that's not going to hurt if you catch your finger on those. Okay, so now we're going to put right sides together. Okay, and again we're only going to sew those side pieces and along the bottom. So similar like when we did the lining. But if you can, try and match up your seams at the side where you've got the different colours. If you've got them in the same colour, then it's not too bad. But we're only going to sew round here. So let's quickly sew around there. Losing my foot pedal. Again, I've got a longer stitch on here just because I'm going through so many layers of fabric. So if you find your fabric is difficult to go through your machine, you can try a walking foot. And just go gently around the curves. So use that needle down position if you need to reposition. I do go fast on the straight bits, don't I? Don't worry if you don't go as fast. I do go slow sometimes. Oh, and up to this other side and say we're only doing these side sections. And I do a little bit of a reverse at the top. And because I clipped those handles, I didn't worry about them getting in the way because they were away from those side seams. Right, so now, I can believe we're nearly done. We're now going to take that lining. So, I like to turn my bag through this way, but you can certainly do it the other way as well. So I'm just turning that out so it's right sides out. And this is where your clips do come in handy because you want to make sure that you've got this lined up. And then I like to have the line on the outside because I find it easier for you to pull through that gap. So you can make the gap as big as you like, really. I would say definitely at least 3 or 4 inches because especially if you've got a lot of fabric that you need to pull through, you want to make it a little bit easy for yourself. And then what I'm going to do first is we're going to line up and clip all this top section. But I find if I clip these ones first, it reminds me a bit like a vest top or an apron, or the neckline. It's like the neckline, isn't it? So I find if I line all those up first, and then the rest of it seems to fit into place. So I'm just going to make myself a little bit of room, because I've took off my accessory case off here, so that's the free arm, making it into the free arm section of the machine. And that will help when you're sewing around the tops of bags, if you're making clothes, so you'd go around neck or sleeves or trouser legs, And the needle down function I've got on, and I've lowered my stitch length. So here we go. So let's whiz around here. So you're going to go around that curve. You're going to get up to the top. I'm going to pivot. And this is where the handle is. So I can feel that I haven't got the handle caught anywhere. There we go. And I say, just take your time. And just work around. And if you do go off a little bit, what I tend to do is I'll get back on track and carry on. And then when I've finished, I would maybe go over that little bit again. I'm just feeling I haven't got my handle caught in there. I don't think I have. Or I'll be unpicking again. But yeah, if you go off a little bit, it's a shame to take it out of the machine unless it's drastically wrong. Just go over it, and then I say you can go back and check. It's like if you miss a little bit on a seam, you can always go back and check. So what we would do, we would clip all of these corners and into the curve before we turn it through. But I'm so eager to show you it, I'm going to turn it through. And I'll put it back later and clip those. And this is our reversible pocket tote bag. See if I haven't stitched through my handles. No, I haven't. Yay, little cheer. Little cheer. And then all we need to do, I'll get my little tool. So we just need to poke out the tops of these where the handles are. So if you pull with the handle, it will pop out. Did you see? Shall I do that again? That was really quick, wasn't it? See there how that pops out? So, and then just get in and just, obviously you'll have trimmed your corners and just poke those corners out so they're nice and neat. I'll find my other one. So again, that's quite satisfying, that. Pop that out. I'll pop that out. There we go. Let's say you can make the straps as long or as short as you like. And I say that bottom section there, you can either stitch it by hand or whiz along it on your sewing machine. So that closes that off. So if I just pop the lining inside now. And you would give that a good press. And you could even top stitch around that top bit as well. I do like to top stitch. I think I top stitch everything. Everything that I make I top stitch. And there we've got our reversible pocket tote. How cute is that? And then we've got that pocket on the back, and because we've done it the same colour, you can't actually see that it's a pocket. So you can actually, you know, mix and match with your colours. But I'm just going to quickly show you the other ones that we've got as well. So say we've got this one that's made in the cord fabric, which is absolutely gorgeous. And then we've got this green with the gold flecks on there as well with the pocket. Like I say, you can put one of those pockets inside as well. You know, they're really deep. They are really deep in there. And so you've got that added security on the top. And then we've got another one here that's in a totally different fabric, but this one's a lot sturdier. This has got a heavyweight interfacing in this one. So this is sturdier. So that shows that you can make them, you know, whatever weight that you like. So this one I absolutely adore, and I think I'm going to go home and make some. And these are our reversible pocket tote bags.